Hey there, I am Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and I am here today to do a state of the channel kind of overview of things that I've learned over the last few years since the last state of the channel video, and to discuss some things about the future of this channel. I am excited for this retrospective and this look forward. And whether this is your first time joining me or your 100th time, I really appreciate you watching this because I'm curious to hear what you think about what I've been doing with this channel, why I'm here, and I'm curious to get your feedback about what I can do better in the future to better serve you, because that is the point of this channel. And that's a good segue into why I do this. So I run a company called Stonemaier Games. I wear a lot of different hats at this company. I'm not the only person at this company. I'm one of 6 people who work at Stonemaier Games. But it's the main thing in my life. I run this company 7 days a week, usually 10 to 12 hours a day. And this channel and the other content that I create on like the Stonemaier Games blog and Instagram, things like that, this channel has become part of a very small part of my responsibilities here. I view it as a way for me to play a bunch of different games as the lead designer at Stonemaier Games, to learn from them, to serve you, most importantly, to add value to you and to add value to other designers out there, and to learn from you. So I'm not just learning from the games, but when you join the conversation about the topics that I chat about here, I am trying to learn from you. A lot of my game videos here are about game design, but some of them are not. Some of them are like my Rolling Realms playthroughs. So that's kind of a promotion for one of the games that we publish. There's the Facebook live chats that I have on Facebook and that I put here on YouTube. And I'll go through all these different formats later. But I am here to serve you. I'm here to add value to you. But I also know that I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do these videos if there wasn't some added benefit for Stonemaier Games as a company and the Stonemaier Games community, of course. My general methods for doing these videos, is that I prepare what I'm going to talk about on Mondays. So I kind of prepare the little image that you see, the thumbnail image. I prepare that. I prepare lists, which can sometimes range from 30 minutes to an hour, and it can take a while to create a top 10 list. And I sometimes print out some images. We'll talk about printing images and showing them later. So I kind of do that preparation on Monday, and then I film on Tuesday. Here's Walter, one of my cats, joining me right now. Actually, my only remaining cat. One of the changes this year is that we had to say goodbye to my beloved cat, Biddy, of a long time. So going forward, you're only going to see one cat in the background of my videos, unfortunately. You will see, though, I am going to change this wall over here to kind of a memorial for Biddy. Yeah. But yeah, so I film on Tuesday. So I found that filming on one specific day of the week, at least for most of the videos, the game design videos in particular, is really helpful for me, so that I can compartmentalize that one part of my, that one responsibility of the many tasks that I have at Stonemaier Games. I also, over the last couple of years, I've gotten a lot of help from my friend Henry. So Henry, as you know, I talk about a lot of games on this channel. I think I play around 150 to 200 new to me games every year. And Henry is a huge help because Henry often learns many of those games and teaches and plays them with me on Thursdays. Not every Thursday, but some Thursdays, sometimes Wednesdays. Henry's been a huge help for me to play more games than I otherwise would have the time to learn and play. So Henry, thank you so much for being a huge part of what has let me talk about newer games, or new to me games. We're not only doing new games, but new to me games on this channel. Also, most importantly, this channel, the intent of this channel is not to generate revenue. I have every place that I possibly found, I have turned off ads on this channel. So you shouldn't see ads, and if you do see ads, then it's someplace that I missed that I haven't turned it on. I don't think this channel, at least for Stonemaier Games and for me, does not generate any revenue at all. Maybe it generates some revenue for YouTube in some way that I don't know about. Perhaps it's their right to do that. It's their platform. Yeah, my intent for this channel is not to generate revenue. It's also not for likes or views. Like, my motivation is not to generate numbers. My motivation is to serve you, to add value to you. And that guiding principle has really helped me. It's helped me avoid clickbait titles. It's helped me realize that I can talk about the things that I'm excited to talk about, because I think when I'm excited about something, maybe you get a little bit more excited about something. but it's given me the freedom that some other content creators may not necessarily feel, because other content creators might be trying, their main purpose or their end goal might be to generate revenue. My goal is to serve my audience. It's to serve you. And so everything comes down to that goal. If you ever see me vary away from that goal, call me out on it in hopefully a healthy, nice way. But that is my goal of this channel, to serve you, to add value to you, and also to learn from you. So a couple years ago when I did the last State of the Channel video, I opened it up for feedback at the end of the video, and I got some great feedback, and I did a blog post on that I'll link to in the description below. And in that blog post, I talked about things that you wanted me to keep doing, because I think that's important. When you give feedback, don't just say the things that you want to change or do better. Include the things that you want the person to continue to do so they don't ignore those things, to show them that you hopefully are adding value in some way. So there was a list of things that you wanted me to keep doing. And then there were things that you hoped that I would change or evolve or grow or improve a little bit. And so briefly here, I'm going to talk about the things that I kept doing per your suggestions, the things that I did improve or increase based on your feedback, and the things that you hoped that I would do that I didn't end up doing. I'll talk about those in a second too. So the things that you said I should keep doing, the things I was doing before and that I have continued to do, or continue to try to do at least, is to approach these videos with enthusiasm, to use this channel to celebrate other publishers and designers rather than just talk about Stonemaier games, to keep this conversational, to keep this as an ongoing conversation between you and me. It's very casual. These videos are not heavily edited at all. I mean, they're barely edited. Oh yeah, I actually did not mention that. When I finish one of the longer form videos, the Sunday videos, like the one that you're watching here, I send it to my coworker, Joe. And Joe is the one that adds some text at the bottom of the screen, sometimes text list on one side, sometimes images. Joe does that as hopefully a very small part of his job. Try to keep this conversational. You wanted me to continue doing top 10 lists. I've kept doing top 10 lists. You liked that when I talk about game design, that I also sometimes work in a design tip. So I might say, I like this mechanism in the game. I'd like to see it in other games. I'd like to, here's me recognizing it in other games. And here's what I'd like to see this design element, this mechanism evolve into in other games. In general, you said that you liked the style, the time, and the length of these videos, the different videos that I film. You liked that I, at the time, was adding timestamps to the top 10 videos. You like those timestamps, and you like the image overlays that Joe was adding, and the text overlays that Joe was adding. You also like that I was participating in the comments, and I continue to try to participate in the comments whenever someone, in particular, whenever someone asks a question, I am there to answer the question, but I read every comment, and I often comment on comments or I respond to comments that don't have a question in them just because I'm enjoying the conversation. You liked the sound quality in the videos. Back then I had the same mic that I do now, a Blue Yeti mic, and it has continued to work pretty well for me, in my opinion. And you like the inclusivity. So inclusivity in terms of the way I talk about games, I try to talk about games in a welcoming way. So I try not to use a lot of buzzwords, acronyms, terms that if you are new to game design or new to the game hobby, the modern gaming hobby, that would make you feel like you were an outsider coming in. I try my best. I don't always do this, but I try my best to include you in the conversation through the language I use. So here there are some things that you mentioned that you wanted me to improve or change over time. Here are the things that I did do over the last few years that I did improve or increase or change. You asked that I do more video design diaries for new games. Whenever we announce a new game or a new project, a new expansion, that I do some design diaries that are video-based. I haven't done this for every product, but I did heavily do it for Expeditions. I did a bunch of video design diaries for Expeditions. I think maybe even more written design diaries that I did for Expeditions. And I want to continue to do that in the future as well. You asked me for me to continue to do top 10 lists, but also do some top 5 lists where I go deeper into each of the games that I want to talk about or that I talk about in that top 5 list. And I have done that in a way that I didn't even expect. I'll talk about that a little bit more later, but I have done top 5 lists where we go more into depth in each of the games. You asked for more videos where I talk about the process of design or production or development. And I have some pretty big videos about those topics, about game development, game design, game production, things like that. I've done some videos like that. You asked me to experiment more. So like to try a type of video that maybe I don't have a whole series planned out of. I don't know if it'll work out, but try to experiment with something and see how it goes. I'll talk about some of those upcoming later, but yeah, I've done a lot of little experimentation to see how it works out, to see the things that I enjoy doing and the things that don't resonate with me or with you, and I stopped doing those types of videos. And last, you asked me to every now and then do a video about a hot topic in the game design, game industry world, and generally that's what I use the Stonemaier Games blog for. But I have done some video series. In fact, I hosted a video series a few months ago where I hosted a couple different people from around the industry and game community about the topic of ethics and reviews and things like that. Jason from Shelf Stories joined me for that conversation. And I thought that was really neat to do. It's not something that I want to do about every hot topic, but hot topics that are really exciting for me and intriguing to you that work better in a video format, especially that format where multiple people join me for the conversation. I think I will try to do more of them in the future as well. Now, a few topics that you asked me to do better with or do more of that I didn't really make all that much progress on, where you asked for more structure in my game design videos, my favorite mechanism game videos. And I tried to apply the structure. I really did after I had this video conversation with you back in 2021. I tried to apply more of a structure to my game design videos, but I kept breaking away from that structure. And so in the name of keeping it more conversational, I have kind of gotten rid of that sticky note that I kept on my screen when I was doing that. Yeah, I no longer have that sticky note anywhere. So I no longer have a set structure to my game design, game mechanism videos. But please keep me accountable for that. We'll talk about this in the feedback section later. I find myself sometimes just saying, oh, this was fun or this is interesting. And the words fun and interesting, I think, are helpful. They're exciting, they're enthusiastic, but they also don't add that much insight into what makes it fun or what makes this mechanism interesting. I want to be more eloquent, I think, in terms. So eloquence is more important to me than structure, I found, and it's something that I'm actively working on. You asked for me to put better images on the screen. This is a common thing that I hear, not all the time, but maybe once every couple of weeks, because when I do my favorite mechanism videos, they're unedited. It's just me recording a video and putting it on YouTube or scheduling it for the future on YouTube. And when I do that, because I'm not doing video editing, I print out pictures from the game and I hold them up to the screen. And I have heard from you that that is not very helpful. Or at least I've heard from some of you saying that is not very helpful, that you are not getting any value from the image. The image kind of shakes as I hold it up, that you're not able to see all that much from the images. So there are two ways I could solve this. I could stop printing out images and just talk. You could just look at my face while I talk, or I could have Joe add more stable, better images to the screen while I'm talking for these videos, my favorite mechanism videos. So my debate there is, do I want to add more work to Joe? Because Joe has plenty of work to do. Most of Joe's job is customer service and communication. So Joe has his hands full with that. So maybe I'll do that more, maybe not. Maybe I'll try to hold up the images better. So let me know your feedback on that when we get to the feedback section. Let me know if anyone out there values that I print out the photos, or if that is actually just making things worse. Repetition. This was interesting feedback. You asked me in 2021 to be aware that I was naming the same games in many top 10 videos, even though the top 10 videos might be of completely different topics, where I might talk about the theme in one, and I might talk about the mechanisms in a different one, and you tended to see the same games show up a lot. And I've been aware of that, and my counter to that is that I've tried to choose more of a variety of topics that venture into different games, right? I can't use the same games for all the topics. At the same time, my favorite games are my favorite games. And so they are going to come up more often than other games. I think what I need to do, though, and do a better job of, as I'm talking about those favorite games more often, or as they naturally come up, they organically come up more often, is to make sure I'm always talking about them in an authentic and welcoming way, inclusive way, and to try to add some new insight whenever I'm talking about them, not just to repeat the same thing I've said about those games in the past, or to say it at least in a different way. You also asked for me to make, some tiny tweaks here and there. I've tried to make some tiny tweaks, but not all that many. And then we talked about the background as well. We discussed the possibility of me doing something different with the background, what's behind my camera here. This is not a green screen. This is my actual office here, my actual cat Walter, my actual litter boxes for my cat Walter. So, but most of you said, more of you said, some of you said you wished I could have a better background, change the background, change the camera angle, something like that. Some of you said, or more of you said that you were fine with the background here. It's just, that goes back into the conversational format of this, this channel, where just me talking to you, or talking with you, hopefully. So that is the feedback from 2021. So let's talk about the type of feedback, or the type of content that I feature on this channel. Just very briefly, I'm just going to run down the list of the type of content that I have pursued and hope to continue to pursue going into the future. So I have, of course, the My Favorite Mechanism videos. I post those on Tuesdays and Fridays. Those are short videos where I talk about my favorite mechanisms. Now, the one change I have done over the last couple of years is that I have played so many games that I would be scheduling, currently I'm scheduling my favorite mechanism videos around 2 months into the future. So I just scheduled one for November 24th. I'm recording this on October 10th. So I'm looking well into the future. And sometimes by the time I get to it, I have often forgotten some of the elements of that game. So a video is appearing about a game that I have forgotten about because I've gone so far in the future. And so as a result, I have started posting some videos, some My Favorite Mechanism videos on Saturdays. Generally, these are lighter games. So I tend to post lighter games on Saturday. Sometimes they're games that I didn't enjoy as much. This isn't, again, a review channel. In fact, I should have said that earlier. I do not review games. This is not me. I am sharing opinions about things, but this is me sharing my love of games, not reviews. I'm not reviewing games. That's not what this channel is. But there are games that I enjoy more than others, and you can probably tell that sometimes when I'm talking about games. So sometimes the games that I don't have as much to say about go on Saturdays. So I'll probably continue doing that to a certain extent. Let me know what you think about, like if you even care as you see the schedule for the release of these videos, Tuesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, if you care about that. Top 10 list. So my longer form videos, many of which are top 10 lists, are posted on Sundays. Continue doing that. My Facebook Live. So a few of you have asked over the years why I don't just record my live stream video. So I have a 1 hour live stream video where I talk about Stonemaier Games news, I discuss random topics, and I answer questions for people. A lot of it is me answering questions live. And I record it on Facebook. I host it and record it on Facebook, and then I export it and I post it on YouTube later. And many of you have asked me why I don't just host it on YouTube. And the answer is I have tried multiple times. And every time this comes up, I often try and I realize why I don't like it. And the reason is whenever I try to do something live on YouTube, the image of me on the screen is delayed by a few milliseconds, a second, and that is really disorienting for me to watch. Like right now, while I'm recording this, I am seeing myself gesture to the screen in real time, and there's no cognitive dissonance happening there. It is not disorienting, whereas recording with a slight delay like that is disorienting. And so I've not found that recording live on Facebook works well. I've also tried other software where you can record on software that has you stream live on YouTube, and that software also has not worked for that purpose. So I always just go back to Facebook. I know it results in low quality footage on YouTube, but it has worked consistently well for a long time now. So I probably will continue doing that. For expansions, I do videos about expansions too. I don't play as many expansions as I do play games, new games. Or play new expansions compared to new games. But I do talk about expansions, and they're not entirely my favorite mechanism videos. It's more like I look at what the expansion adds and what I think is interesting about it. So that is probably the closest I get to a review of anything on here, but still I'm not advocating that you buy or not buy something. It's just me talking about the different elements of expansions. I also started, so this is something fairly new, I started adding digital games. So every month I ask Stonemaier ambassadors if there's one digital game that they would like me to play and talk about from a game mechanism perspective on this channel. It's something that I wish there was more of. I follow a lot of game reviewers that review the game, but But I wish there were more videos about video games and digital games where they talk about the game mechanisms themselves. So it's something that I've tried to get better at about doing and playing. That said, I just don't play many digital games. And when I do play a digital game, I only want to play it for an hour or so. So it doesn't let me go all that deep into the game. And that isn't a knock against digital games. It just feels, whenever I'm doing that, I feel like I should be working on game design instead of playing that digital game by myself. So, but I will continue to do that. I like that format of doing one a month and spending an hour or so on a digital game once a month and talking about it in a video. I also have done a few deep dives. So these are videos where they're essentially top 10s, where they're 10 things that I learned from X game. I did one for Role Player Adventures. I did one for Arc Nova, Dune Imperium, and I think I did one for Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. So they're games that, they're kind of the rare games that I have 10 things to say about. There aren't many games like this, and it isn't a knock against all the other games in the world. In fact, a few of those games aren't even my favorite games. A few of them are, but a few of them aren't. But actually, no, just one of them isn't. but most of them are. If I'm going to spend time on a game, it's usually a game that I really, really love. But oftentimes games just don't have 10 things that I want to talk about. They have like one or two mechanisms that I get really excited about and want to talk about. It's rare that I've learned so much from a single game. So I want to continue to do that, but it is a rare game where I have 10 things to say about the game, 10 big things, major things that I have learned from it as a designer and as a publisher. Design Diaries. I want to continue to do Design Diary videos about our games, about our products. Tales from Production. Whenever we have a new game or a new product to Stonemaier Games, I open up this closet behind me of prototype components, things that we tested out, and I talk about what we learned, or what I learned in particular, during the pre-production and design process as I look back at those old components. Those are fun to do. You seem to respond well to them, so I want to continue to do those. Also, whenever we reveal a new product, typically a new game, I do a video about if you love this game, then here are 10 other games that I think you'll like. And it works both ways. My hope is that when you see a bunch of games on that list that you like, that you might try this game from Stonemaier Games. I haven't done these, I don't think I've done these for non-Stonemaier games. Ultimately, this is a channel I'm doing for Stonemaier Games. So the focus sometimes will be on Stonemaier Games, but of me still sharing my love and enthusiasm for other games. So I hope to continue to do that series. And the most recent one I did with the designer of the game that I was talking about. It was Apiary. Connie Vogelman joined me for that discussion. I definitely want to do that in the future when I'm working with another designer. I thought that was a great conversation. And this is the segue into one of the other new types of videos on this channel. Around 6 months ago, I invited Stonemaier ambassadors to let me know if they ever wanted to join me for a video. And just for context, Stonemaier ambassadors are people who actively volunteer for Stonemaier Games. They share their time, they share their insights, their expertise with Stonemaier Games by doing things like proofreading and playtesting and moderating and going to conventions with our shirts on, things like that. You can see a sign up on our website if that's something that you are interested in. But I asked Stonemaier ambassadors if they would ever want to join me for a video for a topic that they are really interested in. And this helped me in multiple ways because, one, it's easier for me to come up with a top 5 list than it is to come up with a top 10 list. And so that's nice. It's nice to get some other faces on this channel. And it's also a nice way for me to revisit a top 10 that I've already done in the past, but with a new perspective because I have another person there and my own perspective, how it's changed over the years. My question for you is, and I want to continue to do these. My question for you is me recording on Zoom working well? I think it is. I think Zoom records at a fairly high quality, but if you have a different platform that you think I should record on instead, I'm open to it. But I do already pay for Zoom, and Zoom seems to work pretty well and pretty seamlessly for getting someone else on the screen with me. So I'm hoping to do more of those in the future. I might even try to do more of the, Zoom is a live format, and so maybe I'll try to do more of those where more people join me for that format. I do want to do more kind of hot topics. I talked about that before. Hot topic videos where other people from the game design world and industry and community join me for a hot topic conversation. And design retrospectives. I'd like to do more of those as well, where I haven't done many of these, but where I bring a designer back to talk about a game that released a few years ago. Maybe not even always just the designer, maybe the artist of the game. If an artist of one of our games ever wants to appear with me on one of the videos and talk about the art and the design and the visual design for a game, I'd love to have them join me for this channel. And last, one of the things that I added over the last few years, I think I was doing this back in 2021, is I run live plays for Rolling Realms. So I'm going to do one today, actually. So today I'm filming one for Ark Nova, Honeybuzz, and the Isle of Cats. So Rolling Realms is our remotely playable, infinitely scalable, any number of player counts can join a game of Rolling Realms and at any time. So I can record these videos live on Facebook, live on the Rolling Realms Facebook group. Anyone can join me for that live play, but then I can post it on YouTube. And anyone, if you want to play Rolling Realms against me, you can play against me. You can see what I rolled, you can see which realms I was using, and you can try to compete against me and just have fun with that and post your score. I love doing that. I've had a lot of fun with it. I'm up to game 57 of Rolling Realms. And so I want to continue to do those as well. Yeah, so I'll continue to do those. If there's any way, when we get to the feedback section, if there's any of these videos that you want me to do differently, do more of, you could say less of if you want, but I don't know if it's a problem that I'm doing a video that you really aren't enjoying. It's more, tell me the things that you want me to do more of and to make tweaks to in the feedback section. Briefly, I'll reiterate the technical aspects of the videos that I do. So like I mentioned, I use a Blue Yeti mic for sound. I record these videos on my desktop using a Logitech Brio 4K webcam. You can't see it, but I can see it. It's right here. It's a pretty good webcam. I think it does most things well, except for sometimes it doesn't. It uses an autofocus and doesn't focus on the things that I want it to focus on. I use the Windows camera apps. I use the most basic app to record these videos, but it seems to work pretty well. And also I use no special lighting. In fact, I turn off all the lights and I close the drapes over here because I found that any form of unnatural light makes a flickering motion on the screen. I don't want to cause an unnecessary flicker. Also, for some of the Design Diaries, you can see this apparatus behind me. I bought this device to hold my camera looking down at games that I'm trying to show you. I try to do that so I could maybe do a live play or just a playthrough of a game, but it really doesn't show the whole board all that well. So I found it worked best when I was trying to show a very specific part of a game that I'm not able to just like hold up to the camera. So if I'm trying to look down at the table at part of the table, I think that device works pretty well. It does require a lot more finagling than it does for me to just sit down and turn on the camera, but for Design Diaries, I think it is worth using that device. Let's talk about the future. So for the most part, I'd like to continue doing what I'm doing here. I like that variety of videos that I just described. I really like those formats, and I like not being pigeonholed into just one format or one type of video. The things I want to add in the future, one very recent idea that came up is for me, instead of just to talk about new to me games for my favorite mechanism videos, to add more often a potential series where I talk about 3 things that I think are interesting or compelling or that I love about games that I've played at least 3 times. So looking back at games that I've already done my favorite mechanism videos for, but games that I've now played multiple times and that I have multiple things to say about. Not that the original videos, not that I didn't have multiple things to say about the original videos, but to really focus on kind of 3 specific things that I've learned from them. Sometimes they might even be things that I would like to, that I might want to tweak on or iterate a little bit on. But oftentimes it's me just sharing 3 things that I love about the game that I have learned that have kind of stuck with me over time, basically. So I'd like to add that series, and that takes a little bit of pressure off me to always be playing new to me games. I love playing new to me games. I do it kind of naturally all the time anyway. Yeah, it's also, you know, it's a lot sometimes. I sometimes just want to revisit the mini games on my shelves, off-screen shelves over here that I really enjoy. And to talk about them again, to bring them back up in a format other than a top 10 video would be enjoyable to me. I'm curious if that would be enjoyable to you. Also, something that we've been trying to do is adding a little bumper at the beginning. And so at the beginning of each video, you can see a very short moving image, essentially. It's a bumper. It says Stonemaier Games, and then we go into the video. But I've been told by some video experts that it's best to have that bumper happen a few seconds into the video. So have the videos start with me talking about something very briefly, and then have that bumper happen and then go into the main topic. And so this requires me to say something at the beginning of the video and then pause so that Joe can add the bumper and then do the rest of the video. This is a very small, very technical thing, but it's also been something for me, a tough habit for me to take on in these videos. A tough thing for me to add where I say something and then pause so Joe can add that bumper. So I'm working on that, but I haven't done a great job of doing that yet. Those are the two main things I want to add in the future. Mostly it's me wanting to continue doing the variety of things that I already do on this channel, and all the things that you told me in 2021 that you wanted me to keep doing, all the things that I did actively improve, and I want to add these things for the future. Before I get to gratitude, my final topic, feedback. Let's talk about feedback real quick. I would love to get your feedback. I'd love to hear from you. In particular, one thing, maybe your favorite thing about the channel that you want me to keep doing. Like no matter what, you want me to keep this one thing. You can name more than one thing if you want, but if experience is, if the previous video I did is any indicator, there will be a lot of comments on this thread. And so if you'd like to focus it on one thing, that might be really helpful. And then tell me one thing that you'd like me to change or improve or tweak or add. Name the number one thing that you want. And then, of course, beyond that, if there's anything else you want to tell me, I have an open heart, open mind to hearing what you have to say. So, because again, this channel is for me to serve you. It's me trying to serve you and add value to you. And so if there's anything I am doing that is making these videos difficult to watch or difficult to listen to, let me know. I don't want that to be the case. I would ask that you keep in mind with that feedback the context of the last couple years, because if you're giving feedback based on videos that happened 10 years ago, I don't know if this was active 10 years ago, maybe not 7 or 8 years ago, the videos have changed since then. Like the camera has changed, the mic has changed, the formats have changed. So look at the context being over the last few years, more recent videos, things that you've seen recently, and you're like, I want this to change so I can continue to enjoy this channel. Let me know about that in the comments. Last, gratitude. I am so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that you continue to watch this channel. Like I said, I am not doing this for the views or the likes, the clicks, definitely not for the revenue, because this channel does not generate any direct revenue. There's no advertising on this channel. I'm doing it for you. But the way that I know that I'm serving you is when you tell me that, when I can tell that you're watching, when I see that people have watched the video, when I see that people have commented on the video, when I see those comments, that is really helpful for me to know that I'm doing my job of serving you and adding value to you. So thank you for doing that. But also, if you're a more passive viewer, if you just watch and you don't comment, that's totally fine too. And I appreciate you just as much. I really, really do. I appreciate you tuning in, and hopefully the things that I say sometimes add value to you as a person, as a gamer, as a designer, maybe as a publisher. That means the world to me if that has ever happened for you. I also really, really appreciate Stonemaier ambassadors. Like I mentioned, actually, no, I haven't really mentioned this. Stonemaier ambassadors, every month I send them an e-newsletter and I send them a survey that asks for their favorite games in certain categories or answers for certain questions in certain categories. And you have probably seen this in many of my top 10 videos where I talk about the ambassador list. I share the ambassador list there. And not only is it helpful to have that list so you can see games from other perspectives, very briefly, but you get to see them. But it also helps me populate my list, because a lot of the types of mechanisms that I talk about here are not things that I can search for on Board Game Geek. So ambassadors have been incredibly helpful in populating the list, and some ambassadors have been helpful in joining me for top 5 videos. So I really appreciate ambassadors too. Last, I want to thank Joe, my coworker, who adds the bumper and the images and the text to these videos. I want to thank Joshua for converting these videos into audio format and posting them as a podcast. You can see a link to that in the description below if you just want to listen to this as a podcast. It is not a heavily visual channel, so it is totally okay for you to listen to this as a podcast. Jeff for creating the bumper in the first place, Henry again for teaching and playing many of these games with me, and for my friends who I'm very grateful that many friends bring a vast variety of games that I wouldn't otherwise have access to. A lot of the games that I talk about on this channel are games that I play from friends. And actually, I should end on that too, in terms of gratitude. This is not a channel where I accept free games. If a publisher reaches out to me, I really appreciate that, but I'm not a reviewer. I'm not here to accept free games. So the games that I talk about on this channel are games that I either have bought, or games that friends have bought, or that every now and then I play at like a convention. So it's a game that I don't own, friends don't own, but I have played at a convention. So I'm not receiving anything free to do this channel. Every now and then a publisher slips one through the cracks and the game just shows up at my door. I don't like that when that happens, but sometimes I do end up playing those games. And the reason I should mention that I don't do this is that I don't ever want to feel obligated to talk about a game, basically. I want to play and talk about the games that I want to play and want to talk about. And I think when you add that element of receiving free copies, you add an obligation, you add a commitment there. You're committing as a content creator to actually play and talk about that game. And while I am a content creator in the context of this video, I don't want that obligation. I just want to play the things and talk about the things that I am excited to talk about with you. So anyway, back to gratitude. Thank you so much for joining me for this channel, for adding your thoughts and insights in the comments, or just watching and hopefully gaining some value from this channel. I really appreciate it, and I hope to continue to do this for years to come. Yeah, I think that's it. I look forward to your feedback, and I look forward to doing one of these videos in a few years when things have hopefully continued to change and improve over that time. Thanks.